Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing tonight as the Knicks put the league on notice, smashing the Denver Nuggets at a hostile MSG. This was everything we wanted to see. Shout out Knicks Nation. Shout out chat. Let's talk about this huge win, ladies and gentlemen, as the Knicks absolutely suffocated and destroyed the Denver Nuggets, right? Holding them to just 84 points. This one was an amazing performance from our Knicks. Probably the best win, regular season win in the Tom Thibodeau era, right? And while we're talking about eras, the OG Anunoby era continues to buzz as we are buzzing at 11-2 since the trade, right? Beating teams above 500 now, 5 straight. Plenty to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Knicks post-game live on Knicks Buzz tonight as we're 28-17. We'll talk about the standings as the Knicks continue to climb and surge, but we got some game balls to give out and some A pluses to give out as well. And of course, we have to shout out the chat with your comments, your thoughts, your excitement. I'm buzzing right now. Now, make no mistake about it. This was the complete performance, a complete 48 minutes, as I got there in the notes, and we don't often get to see that, right? Win or lose, complete 48 minutes, the most satisfying win I've seen, I think, in the Tibbs era of the regular season, no doubt. Of course, consequences, it's not the same as a playoff win, but man, this was satisfying. This was right up there with the best of them, right? In terms of a huge win in the points. We kept the Nuggets to their lowest score on the season. Total score, lowest halftime score. Complete performance. OG Anunoby, 6 steals, 26 points. Got to rest in the final quarter with Brunson and Randall as well. The assists Randall was producing tonight was amazing. The defense, right? The Knicks set the tone early. When you want to beat the Denver Nuggets, you need to set the tone. And I think the Knicks started the game amazing as well. Jericho Sims, man, stepped up in a huge way, guarding Nikola Jokic, right? A former MVP, right? That mantra about the New York Knicks next man up is real. It's not something we just say, right? And Precious Achiuwa, Jericho Sims stepped up in a big way. DiVincenzo continues to play amazing 2 ways, shooting threes as well. But the story for me, OG Anunoby, Knicks career high, 6 steals, putting the ball on the floor, creating for himself, hitting the corner threes as well. And of course, man, we're going to talk about our all-stars to be. Plenty to talk about there with Brunson and Randall not getting into the starters, but should get in as the reserves. It came down to the wire with JB and Lillard, but we're going to save that for later because tonight we're on a high, and I salute to everyone because, we need this, we deserve this. And it's a situation where the Knicks have now, created more buzz around the league, around the world with the way we're playing since the OG trade. We're the number 1 team in the league as of 2024 since the trade, and we're climbing the East, right? So how we feeling, guys? Buzzer beater. Appreciate you as always, rocking out first in the chat. We are at 622 win percentage, on pace for 50 plus. Yep, that's legit. Legit, we are. And we're coming. I've got in the title, we put the league on notice, right? The Denver Nuggets are no slouch, right? We made them look bad tonight. Make no mistake about it, right? Anyone that might try to downplay tonight's win might say that the Nuggets were maybe towards the end of a road trip. I get it. But when you got Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, KCP, and Michael Porter Jr. as well. No injuries in the starting five, right? I don't care if this is a road loss for the Nuggets. This was absolutely on the New York Knicks, making them look ordinary, right? Holding them to just 84 points, and scoring 122 of our own as well. Man, this roster is really got big upside, and we're going to continue to talk about it. JJ, what's good? OG had the clamps on Murray. Indeed, he did. It's a sight of beauty, seeing 6 steals with 26 points. This was a throwback, fam, to some of the greatest defenders that's ever put on a New York Knicks jersey. OG Anunoby's got to make first team. All D, right? Big task. We're on the show right now. Appreciate you. Prezi says this is what happens when you don't make the captain an all-star starter, right? Statement. You said it. And Brunson had the juice tonight. He let the world know that I am the East starter as well. We know it's a popularity contest. And we know Damian Lillard has, the accolades of formerly. But in my opinion, as everyone said it, we are voting on this year, right? Not years past, not what Damian Lillard's done in his career. And Jalen Brunson was snubbed, no doubt about it. And I'm great to see media pundits also acknowledge, because the media voted for Brunson. It was a tiebreaker, but the fan vote got JB in too. Buzzer says Dame doesn't deserve to go ahead of Brunny. Absolutely not. No, I think he would acknowledge it. But right, we're not going to. He's not going to give it away. But Brunson's going to continue to earn it, and he's going to get in. He's going to be a first-time All-Star. So let's stick to the positives, right? Brunson will get in, and the coaches, the media are showing him some love as well. It's just the fans, right? And when you look at Asia, you look at India, you look at other areas around the world, there's a lot of casuals that will vote on players that they like, but they may not necessarily be a Bucks fan, but they're a Dame fan. And we used to see Derrick Rose, 35-year-old Derrick Rose still get voted as well. So the real ones know. And JB, in my eyes, in our eyes, is the starter, right, for the East. But we're coming for bigger things, right? It's not just about all-star accolades. And tonight, the Knicks showed it, too. In a major way, we put the clamps on the former champions in the league. And I'm going to say now, this is 3 wins in a row against Denver. We swept them last year, and we've beaten them convincingly again tonight. Absolutely undressed them. So we have their number right now. I don't think anyone could argue. We're built for the playoffs. Tibbs is getting Tibbs soldiers. We talked about it. And we're going to get more guys at the trade deadline that like to play both ways. But tonight, man, guys, 26 assists stood out to me. Another night of good ball movement, but with low turnovers as well. So that's a double salute. 8 turnovers only, with 12 steals, 6 of them with OG. Multiple highlight plays, which we're gonna talk about. But moving the rock is key. I thought Randall and Brunson played an amazing first half, and didn't play much in the second half. Obviously, sat in the fourth, but their ball movement was excellent, and they weren't forcing it. We kind of got the recipe now to beat Denver, which is ball movement, shooting. DiVincenzo and OG, man, continue to space the floor really well. 40% from 3 on a night where we shot high volume as well. 52% from the field. Absolutely loving fast break points. Look at that, guys. Look at that discrepancy in fast break points. Dominated. Second chance points was a huge domination as well. And Hart, with Hart out, our guys continue to rebound well. Shout out to Sims and Precious. Josh Hart, Grimes had a great game too. What lies ahead for Grimes and the trade deadline, we'll talk about that in freestyle later towards the latter end of the show tonight after the grades. But this team is clicking, man. Vaughn, chat, it's clicking. And the starting five, there's arguments, very valid arguments that we shouldn't touch it. We just beat the reigning champs. Guys are fired up, and they've got a chip on their shoulder right now. So I think, it's a wise argument to say let's keep things as is. Let's continue to see how we do with the good ball movement, the two-way wing help of OG, and the floor spacing, man. And we ride Brunson and Randall offensively with those guys moving the ball. We saw tonight, they didn't even try to bother doubling Randall because he was spraying the ball to the corners, to the shooters, and they were making them pay. Right, tonight was a thing of beauty in terms of basketball 101, fam. It's like we were all in heaven watching the ideal Knicks game, tonight, watching the ball spray and the ball hit nylon too, and of course throw back to the 90s defense, stifling. It was absolutely, suffocating, and the Knicks, like I said, set the tone early in this game, which was key. A 21-point lead at the half. I really felt confident. For the first time in a long time, I felt like at the end of at the halftime, I felt we're going to win this game. And that's when we've turned the corner, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Normally the Knicks have a good lead at the half. You think, okay, more work to be done. We ain't done here yet. The team's going to make a run and we're going to have to hit shots tonight. But yeah, sharp hours, guys. I felt like at halftime, the Knicks were still going to win this ball game. And that's what has me buzzing, fam. Sharp Power says Sims made it hard out there against the Joker. He absolutely did. And I'm really appreciative of what Sims is able to do. And that just goes to show we've got hidden gems, and we're going to talk about Deuce, who continues to hit shots as well. NYC Ball 08, we now have the longest winning streak in the East. Yep. We saw the Miami Heat lose tonight, but we saw the Indiana Pacers beat the Philadelphia 76ers. So we'll talk about that, man. Travel Vibes, Hewlett, what's good, fam? Low Key, peace. Great to see you. And I appreciate you chat, supporting and buzzing out tonight, man. This one was for the record books, right? In terms of regular season wins, we won't ever forget about this one. Smash that like button. The Knicks are buzzing. And we're going to look at the road ahead after we've given out these grades. We're about to dive in and give out these game balls. Wire-to-wire victory tonight. Suffocating defense. Floor spacing. Unselfish play. And hustles. Hustle for loose balls. And killed them in the fast break points, right? How many transition dunks did we get tonight, guys? And a lot of them started from this man, right? As we hit the first guy tonight, his New York Knicks career high. He's buzzing. I'm buzzing. Before we look at his numbers, let's look at his chart. He was 3 of 9 from deep, 33%. Like, not one of his finest shooting nights, but what was even better was he compensated for that with creation, getting out on the break, turning defense into offense, also passing the rock too. But, it's no longer, it's a bigger sample size and it's a trend now that OG is, producing in the paint. For a bigger guy, he's using his size to get to the spots he needs to get. He's finishing in the restricted area. Had the nice corner three off a nice Randall dish, and a couple of others in the right corner and right elbow. What impressed me tonight was OG put the ball on the floor and flashed a dribble move, crossover. He's not an adept offensive creator at all, but he can do it, right? When he's got room. Like I said, he uses his size, which was really impressive. And we're going to see more from OG moving forward. This is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, so salute. And probably the pleasing thing as I start, the numbers, 29 minutes tonight. That's a case of OG, who's been a guy who's been playing, 40 minutes almost since, becoming a Knick. right? And now he was able to sit, have a nice rest. So he did all the hard work early, and this one was a wrap by the fourth quarter. 10 of 18, 55%, and 3 of 9, like I mentioned, 3 of 5 from the free throw. But 2 boards, an assist, and wait, let's hear it, 6 gritty steals, defensive player active, badge activated now, all defensive team, 6 steals, got out on the break for 26 points, and a record high plus 38 on the season, fam. I don't think a Nick this season has finished higher than a plus 38. On his Nick career, he is a plus 240 and 11-2 since becoming a New York Knick, right? End of argument. I don't want to hear about, whatever small valid arguments there were about losing quickly and Barrett in this OG deal, right? The numbers don't lie. 11-2, plus 240, perfect piece, complementary, first defense in the league, domination, right? Absolute domination, guys. What are you feeling? Buzzer says we get DeJounte, and it's a wrap. Yep, an OG coming in was 201 plus tonight. And we continue. For what I saw, he's plus 240 now, right? But it gets to the point where the numbers are just ridiculous. Will, what's good? We're buzzing. Michael, every starting member gets an A+. Yep. That's going to be the case, I believe, as we get through each guy. Precious is stepping up. It says JJ. Michael's so happy. What a great game. NBA 2K can't give us a better game. You said it. If we simulated a 2K game on rookie, right, we get tonight. Just really impressive. But, it's been building. It's been building up to this, and this has been a culmination. So, it's from top to bottom. Shout out to Leon Rose. Shout out to the front office. Shout out to the coaching staff. And we'll get to them later. But right now, it's all about the players. So, without further ado, OG Anunoby is going to get an A+++ tonight with his gold star for his signature all-defensive team, defensive player of the year candidate, and game ball tonight. Another game ball. The 11-2 since he's been a Knick, it's flown by. It's been super quick. But we're starting to really get used to winning, right? And I'm loving it. I love getting on here and talking about wins, of course, but just seeing two-way play has been what I appreciate the most. Normally when we get Knicks, formerly guys, you remember in the 80s and 90s, it might be a guy that's adept on one side of the floor, but not the other, right? Talking about a Steve Francis, Steph Marbury, turnstiles on D. Or we end up getting a Tyson Chandler or someone who's, former defensive player of the year, but couldn't hit a jump shot, couldn't put the ball in the cup to save his life, right? Now, what we're looking at is a guy who is impressing me with what he's doing offensively, but his defense is his calling card, bread and butter, baby. But OG Anunoby has got the league buzzing, right? I'm seeing casual NBA fans on Twitter saying, "Man, pick up of the season right now." And this has taken the Knicks to another level. You know when you're truly a difference maker, when you've taken your team to another level, right? It's all about complementing, but also getting us to another level, man. And JJ says, they said the narrative was that OG had no bag, right? Yeah, he can do some stuff out there, man. He's got a little something in his bag for real, and it's all about his athleticism and his size for me. That's what helps him create separation. It's what makes him dangerous defensively because he can really be more physical with you, and also get the steal, and get out on the break, like we see. And also it helps when you're a plus a huge plus shooter as well out there, man. You can't double. You can't. Um, you can't focus on Randall or Brunson, right? And we're going to get to Brunson, and he had a dunk tonight as well. So that lets you know. Salute HP Carlos tuning in all the way from Portugal. Appreciate you, fam. And shout out mad love to all the fans in Portugal as well. Let's get it. OG will be getting the bag, right? Facts with NYC ball, and the Knicks know that, and I think they've agreed already. OG smiles tonight. He looked super happy. The Garden gave him the OG chance, serenading. I mean, what's there not to love if you're OG? I mean, even Precious put on his Instagram that he's loving it being in New York. Yeah, and the fans, the love that we show these guys, the appreciation is why players want to play, and why they play this game, and why they want to play in New York, because, right, they don't get this shine anywhere else, right? And credit to, Brunson and Randall, who are playing unselfishly recently. When stars start to play unselfish, it's when they have trust. They trust their teammates because the teammates produce, right? Dante DiVincenzo, ever since he came into the starting lineup, is producing. OG Anunoby, since the day he became a Knick, he's been producing as well. So that just gives Randall and Brunson more trust. Jerry, appreciate you, says OG Murray held Murray to just 9 points. Wow. You said it. That says it all, right? 6 steals. It's time to seriously, while we're going to talk about Brunson and the All-Star tonight, we're definitely going to talk about OG and Defensive Player of the Year candidate, right? We see one of those trophies up there on the screen from Tyson Chandler, the last defensive Knick Player of the Year. We have a legit contender now in OG Anunoby, fam. And I think, he's got the runs on the board, right? He's already come in as a New York Knick with that reputation, and I think it's going to be a case of, his appreciation and attention is going to get to that next level while being here, too, fam. So let's move along. We'll continue to give love to OG and shout him out, because tonight was probably his best game as a New York Knick, in not just points obviously, but 2 ways with the steals, 6 big ones, led to fast break points. He had a couple of nice and ones, and got fouled as well, finishing on the break. He's been shooting the free throw really well since becoming a Knick, so he gets a pass for his 3 of 5 tonight. But yeah, man, what's there not to say about 26 points, plus 38, right? Plus 240 since coming into town. Man, you can't make this stuff up, too. Now we're going to hit on Jalen Brunson next, right? A situation where, we heard the news at 7 p.m. Eastern when TNT announced it. And what I said earlier, we're getting, guys like Chuck. We're getting, Kendrick Perkins. We're getting a lot of people, Brian Windhorst, Tim Bontemps, put Brunson as their starter, right? So, real ones know. We don't have to dwell upon it too much. He will get in as a reserve. The coaches voted, the media gave him that level of respect, and I think the coaches are going to get it done, right? So Brunson will be a first-time All-Star this year. We just have to wait for the reserves to get announced. But, I mentioned setting the tone early. Brunson was that guy who, who's getting off to great starts. 26 minutes tonight, you love that. 7 of 10, super efficient. 6 of 6 from the free throw. 4 assists and 21 points, and was a plus 24, right? He was living in the paint, and they had no way to stop him. he had so many up and under manipulation, pivot moves. He got Michael Porter Jr. with his hand in the cookie jar. He was slicing up Jamal Murray, right? He's playing better than Dame. There's no question about it. Jalen Brunson is the East All-Star starter, right? Legitimately, he should have been, but in our eyes, he is. And he's having an amazing season. He's having an MVP, type season. We're starting to really see a team, realize their goal of 50 plus wins, and that's when you seriously enter the MVP discussions, when your team, is dominating that much, and he's dominating too, right? And with a statement win tonight, Almighty Finesse says smoking that Denver pack, smoking Jokic pack tonight. You said it, and we had a point to prove. These guys needed to come out here, and take it out on someone, because it's not fair. Brunson is deserving, but we let our play, do the talking on the court. So that was awesome. Another A+ on the season from Jalen Brunson with his gold star, signature All-Star performance. But I think he's seriously entering the MVP discussion, right? Not saying he's going to win MVP or he's leading, but there's a conversation to be had, I think. And who knows how high we finish, We might make the 3rd seed. That's very realistic now. We'll talk about the standings soon, but there's a real pathway to the 2nd seed if we continue clicking, right? So, yeah, I think Brunson, if we finish with 55 wins, make the 3rd seed, 2nd seed, huge case for an MVP year for Brunny, right? But I know, he had to be bummed, and he definitely came out motivated tonight. What's good, old head? Yeah, the NBA's on notice now, in the East specifically, as Michael's always given out the double gold star too. I agree. You love these games where Brunson just does what he needs to do, but he's not too ball dominant. 4 assists in 26 minutes is nice. Like I said, manipulated, filled it up, got to his spots, comfortably, in the mid-range, floater game, step back up and under as well, and continues to shoot the 3 ball well, right? That's the biggest story on the year for me with JB is the 3-point ball, 1 of 2 tonight. So awesome stuff, man. We here. What do you guys think? Brunson and MVP, right? He's getting the chance, and I think there's a real discussion to we'll continue buzzing, and our next man up is Juju Randle on the season. Man, I loved Randle's game tonight. Randle had amazing assists, racked up 8 in 30 minutes, got 7 boards. 3 of them were offensive as well. So shout out to Randle for his rebounding, for his assisting. He's making his teammates better, right? 17 points, comfortable points. He cruised tonight on a plus 25. He was going at Gordon. He was putting him in the blender out there, backing him down. He was aggressive early as well. I really, OG gets the game ball, but our start really is attributed to Randle and Brunson because they were really making a point to be aggressive early and move the ball as well. And I thought they were really quick with their decision making. And the offense just looked amazing tonight. It was like a fine or a well-oiled machine, absolutely, buzzing down there. And, we were making the Denver Nuggets work. We were so physical with them, and we're a team that no one wants to play. Nobody, because we make you work, as Jokic knows about it. Got the inadvertent eye poke. Devo, was apologetic, But that was just a, kind of a reflection of just how much we wanted this win. How hard the New York Knicks played tonight for the jersey, for the city, and for each other. So salute. You go as far as your leaders. OG Anunoby was able to showcase himself tonight and utilize the spacing. But I thought Brunson and Randall were absolutely great leaders tonight on the floor early. They were better leaders than Jokic and Murray, right? Randall and Brunson as a duo outplayed arguably the best duo in the league. What people talk about with Murray and Joker. Those guys salute, they're finding their groove this season, and they're looking the best they've ever looked with Brunson and Randall as a pairing, right, together with OG. And as I mentioned earlier, guys, it's confidence, it's trust as well. Vaughn says OG's midi game is improving since last season. Yeah, he's hunting blocks too. I heard some Raptors fans tell me that, he wasn't normally this proficient getting blocks, fam, running the floor out too, getting the steals. I think everything we anticipated with Tom Thibodeau, right? Tom Thibodeau is unlocking a Frankenstein, and literally with Hartenstein and with OG. Sometimes these guys look possessed on the defensive side. It's like, like a wind-up toy where you just, they're full of energy and they just go and go and go until the play stops. Too, fam. So, yeah, Michael, 50 wins, I think, is a realistic target, 50 plus for where we're sitting. Yep. Yeah, as HB Carlos says, man, I love Kendrick Perkins, honesty. He calls it like he sees it too, and he's appreciative of what, Brunson and the Knicks are doing, right? I think all the guys that don't appreciate the Knicks are just haters because at this stage, where, our play is doing the talking. So we're making so much noise that you can't drown that out unless you're just a hater, like Kenny the Jet, on TNT, like we saw it tonight, man. He was trying to, interrupt, Chuck. Yep, I agree, absolutely. Nick says, Knicks 26 champs, Brunson is in my top 5 for MVP. Yep. Realistically, he's a starter in the East, and he should be a top 5 candidate for MVP, yep. Right, the numbers, so Brunson's up to 27 points on the game with 4 rebounds and 6 assists. Right, I mean, it's just incredible numbers, man. Lex the Destroyer, great comment, man. Denver Chicken Nuggets. Yep, we ate them up. Yep, let's get it. Yeah, with Juju Randle, as I said, man, I'm really loving his game recently, more so with the in-control offensive play, passing the ball out of the double quickly, being, forceful in the paint when he's 1v1, because that's what helps the defense collapse. That's what creates separation for the other dudes. And Randall, he really is making his teammates better, with this kind of play. I don't think there's any argument to be had that Randall is not making guys better, because OG's looking better than he did in Toronto. Brunson's, looking as good as he's ever looked in his entire career, MVP candidate. And I think Randall and Brunson will both be coming off the bench for the East All-Stars, fam. And we're going to love it and lap it up because they both deserve it, right? So with that said, gold star performance from Juju, in control, got to sit, rest in the fourth, A+ for me tonight. He dominated Aaron Gordon in 30 minutes, was 7 of 15. A couple of the 3 balls didn't fall, but Randall was stishing and rebounding tonight. He picked up a steal. He only had 2 turnovers as well and 2 fouls, right? 17 most comfortable points you'll ever see from Juju tonight. Right, he didn't even crack a sweat. And a plus 25. So shout out, we here. Right, he's the guy that said we here. Right, Julius Randle, dating back to the free agency of 2019. We've made the playoffs since twice, and we're headed for a third time, baby. And this time we're coming with help, right? And we're looking dangerous. I don't really know, if you're a team coming up against the Knicks, I don't really know where you kind of try to look at their exploiting any kind of weakness now with OG here, floor spacing, the offensive firepower with Randall, Brunson, DiVincenzo. Once we get Isaiah Hartenstein back, and if we get Mitchell Robinson back as well, whew, man, let's just enjoy this, man. I said this recently, but we haven't been in a position this good on the court and off court, going back to when we were making NBA finals on the regular back in the 90s. Too, yep. So yeah, we also might introduce a leadership badge out here because, like Vaughn says, Randall's leadership is up this season, right? Trending up, baby. And we've got a couple of, leaders with a captain leading the ship and some willing soldiers out there playing their role, right? A lot of guys played their role tonight and stepped up in a big way. And we're going to talk about them more as we continue with the starting unit. Next up is twin number one, Good Dante. Salute to the big Ragu. Man, lost in all of the recent success and the OG acquisition is this man. A guy we got in the off-season. It had some criticism. People thought we could have, spent that money more wisely. People clown the Villanova stuff a little bit, took the piss out of it. But truthfully, I think what got lost was DiVincenzo's actual game, right? He's coming in with game. Shooting one of the best 3-point percentages on the season with volume. Tonight was 4 of 9, flaming hot, 45%. From deep. He was 5 of 10 on the field, hit 2 of his free throws, got a 6 assists as well, right? A point guard would be proud of 6 assists, but DiVincenzo is dishing and swishing with plus 27 and 16 points, right? Amazing performance on both sides from DiVincenzo, on a night where they had, the elite role players in Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, right? Not only our leaders outplayed their leaders, but our role players outplayed their championship role players as well. DiVincenzo, A+ for me tonight as well. Outstanding performance. He was so motivated that he took Jokic's eye out. He got multiple jump balls. He was hunting loose balls, super aggressive, right? His defensive aggression badge was activated tonight, as was his deep shooting. So shout out to Devo. The chat continues buzzing. What do you give for DiVincenzo? Let's get it. Michael says, what will Bill Daughtry say now about the Knicks? We'll get Bill on soon, man. Bill's loving what he's seeing from the OG deal. We had Bill on last week, and he said we're realistically the second best team in the East. And he's right now. We're looking like it. The DiVincenzo acquisition, he wasn't that high on. So I kind of hear what you're saying. He wasn't necessarily down on DiVincenzo, but he was wanting the Knicks to make, more improvements. And that's exactly what we did recently. But now DiVincenzo is really making people, stand up and pay attention. How many teams around the league would love a role player like DiVincenzo right now? I mean, we're absolutely spoiled for this guy on 13 milli. He's playing like a super role player, and we've seen it with multiple championships. You need, not just role players, but, super role players. Like I'm talking about the ones in Denver that, helped them win the chip last year with Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and etc. Except Devo's only making 13 mil. So that's absolutely outstanding work from Leon Rose. I graded the Devo pickup an A+ in the summer, and man, it's paying off in spades with his 3-point ball and his tenacity on the defensive end. In the words of Clyde, with feline quickness, he's got hops, skying at the hoop. The only weakness with Dante, and I'm being as realistic as I possibly can, is his finishing in traffic and finishing on the break. But I don't see really any other weakness. People might say he gambles, in the passing lane. I don't necessarily think that's a weakness. I think that's just maybe a flaw in his game. But he can decide not to do that, right? He decides to be aggressive, and get in those passing lanes. So that's what's beautiful. That's what's key with DiVincenzo, and a guy who's living up to his billing, right? He's just going from strength to strength. He's only a 26-year-old as well. So I think Dante A+, says John from Still Knicks fans in the building. Let's go, John. A+ to DiVincenzo. Knicks 26 champ says no real urgency to make a trade. Yep. Now, we will make a trade, but I agree with you. There's no urgency because we have some leverage, and I don't want to overpay, and there's no need to overpay, because we're playing really well. These GMs are going to try to suck, every asset, they can possibly get for some of these marginal guys. They're going to try to, drum up some bidding war for a Bruce Brown, Brogdon, DeJounte. But let's just get the guy that is going to help us, but, is not going to break the bank as well, because, we're not desperate, right? That's the difference. Our play is ascending, and you want to let it happen organically as well. And I think OG is really starting to, open some eyes. Like tonight, his shot creation gave us a little bit of impact, in terms of what we can see moving ahead, on a good defensive team too. So that stood out the most. Now, a guy who's standing out a lot, right? From last game, he came basically off the couch, off the rotation, into guarding Nikola Jokic, right? Absolutely astounding, ascendancy for Jericho Sims. Tonight, man, he arguably could be MVP, because to do what he did, and to not only to hold your own against Nikola Jokic, but to actually do a really good job for a guy who was out of the rotation, that speaks to the level, the commitment, the buy-in of the New York Knicks role players, and the talent and some of these hidden gems. So he was a +20 tonight. So he was a positive in his minutes against a former MVP. And I need to say that again. He was a positive guarding the a former MVP, right? He took it personally. Tibbs no doubt challenged Jericho, and he got us, 8 boards, a block. He was efficient 1 of 1, was in the right spots, just making it life difficult. You never really go into a game saying, I'm going to shut down arguably the best player in the NBA. But what you do need to come in is with the confidence that you can make life difficult. You can make him feel you, and you can make your presence felt on the defensive side, make him work, basically. And that's what Jericho Sims did tonight. So excellent, performance for Jericho, doing what we're all proud of, and he gets an A because his effort defensively was phenomenal, and impactful, right? Super impact tonight. Almost got 10 boards too. So shout out to the Jericho show, right? Jumpman Sims. Huge performance to die for. A salute. We have to trust the process and the dust will settle. Yep. Look, I have full trust in the front office now. I know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And they're going to continue to do it. Right now, we were overlooked, coming into the year. Like the chat said tonight, some guys on ESPN, some of them, in years past have been critical. Some of them have since been, very honest, and that the Knicks are better now. They're admitting it. And some guys are on the other side where they're just complete supporters now of what the Knicks movement is. One of those, few of those guys is Kendrick Perkins, and another one is Tim Bontemps, who's in New York. He was at the Garden tonight, but he was at the start of the year. He was preaching the overs, 45 wins. Tim Bontemps was like, yeah, man, that's a no-brainer. He was like, hell yeah, take the overs, 45 wins. And he's correct. And he was trying to convince Brian Windhorst and Tim McMahon of his case, right? So, and that was before the season. So, he's not just a guy coming out the woodworks. He's standing on his opinion. So the Knicks are now, realistically on pace for a plus 50 wins. Now, and some of these guys believed it, early, like we, a lot of us did. I predicted 48. I said we'd make a trade. I just wasn't sure, how big of a trade it would be, all of that stuff. But yeah, factoring in, we've had injuries. I factored in the tough schedule as well. And the Knicks are just basically making a mockery of all the doubters too. And we got guys like Sims and Deuce on amazing contracts who are doing the business for us, right? So another second game in a row where, where Jericho's been outstanding, and he continues to be, solid defensively, and give us, the hustle, the rebounding, in the absence of Isaiah and Mitch. So once again, salute to Jericho. I mean, I'm impressed. Right? We know what Brunson's capable of. I know what Randall's capable of. But tonight, OG, I really came away more impressed. He continues to go from strength to strength. And the next guy I'm most impressed with coming out of tonight is Jericho Sims. Because, 25 minutes is a huge role to play on, Nikola Jokic as well. So outstanding, man. And we're going to talk about Tibbs, Vaughn. We're going to continue to give out these grades. And the buyout market, the best guy we could get might be in a buyout too. Yeah, so there's a lot of options too. Kyle Lowry, possibly Gordon Hayward as well. We're going to talk about that, right? Could there be more additions to the Villanova squad? He's a Tibbs guy. And he's a two-way player as well. So yeah, look out for that. I agree with you. The buyout market is a big factor, I think, coming in to the trade deadline, fam. But that was the starting unit tonight. So once again, all the starters dominated. They were all plus 20s. In the case of OG, 30s. Now, let's hit up on the first point guard off the bench. You know his name. The Garden calls him Deuce McBride. Amazing performance offensively, defensively as well. But more so offensively, man. 4 of 9. 4 of 5 from 3-point, man. He's on fire. Is Deuce McBride. Whatever he's doing, man, keep doing it. he clearly put in the work, in the summer. Clearly a dude who's been, deserving of a bigger role. His time has come, right? Maybe that's one of the reasons that the organization felt more at ease, including, Emmanuel quickly, and no doubt they put their money where their mouth was. They gave Deuce the extension the next day or the very same day that trade was made, right? So Deuce McBride, we here right now, like the cap says, he sniper, 4 or 5. You kidding? Right? He's shooting better than Grimes. He's shooting better than Devo tonight. Right? This is a guy who is a point guard, a backup point guard, but he's really playing better off ball. I know his limitations, and one of the biggest reasons we're looking for more help, is a guy who can be a steady hand later in the postseason. I get it. But yeah, Deuce McBride's deserving, being the 9th, 10th man, and still getting minutes when he's playing like this. The shot's effortless. He's shooting well all over the court. 13 points tonight on a plus 14, and 1 of 2 from the free throw line. But the 4 of 5 from 3 is absolutely money, right? And with that said, he gets a perfect, flawless A+ for me tonight. Deuce McBride putting in work, and the chemistry with the bench was big tonight, because we didn't regress. We didn't even take a step back when the bench was playing. That was the difference for me tonight. Starters v starters. You can kind of hope that we either beat Denver or we hang. But when the bench come in, that was my worry. But we got separation when the bench came in tonight. So Deuce McBride was a big factor in that, and his shooting continues to be the story since the trade. Yeah, like To Die For says, man, Clyde Frazier keeps saying we should start calling Deuce Trey. Yeah. That came about because Deuce McBride got a brother by the name of Trey. Trey McBride. He's also a professional ball player. He's playing overseas. But yeah, Trey McBride, you could call him his twin, to the way he's shooting, fam. A+. Yep. Deuce being the 2-point shot as well. Maybe that's what Clyde's referring to, but not that many people know. But yeah, Deuce McBride has a brother as well, and his name is Trey. So it's no coincidence. These guys know what they're doing. Deuce McBride's going to be a factor. Tibbs loves him. Tibbs trusts him as well. So whether we get bench help or not, Deuce will still be he'll factor. And how big of a factor will remain to be seen. But the way he's playing, tonight against one of the best teams in the league is huge. So that talks about his upside. Now, another guy that needs a lot of shine, he's a guy who is in trade discussions around the league. Nothing imminent yet. So, we know how discussions go by now. Sometimes you hear so many reports. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it just doesn't. We might all be looking back and say, Quentin Grimes stays with the New York Knicks because, he's got talent. He is a first-round draft pick, and he has shown it in the past. So tonight, Quentin Grimes gave us another glimpse, another reminder of how talented he is. 7 of 11 from the field. He looked like a capable starter among bench players tonight in the fourth quarter. Takeover mode badge was Quentin Grimes with 19 big ones and plus 13. And he chipped in with 5 rebounds as well. And he also hit all 3 of his free throws, too, and 2 of 5 from deep. So the real Quentin Grimes is starting to emerge since the trade discussion started heating up. Is this a guy, do you guys think, we're seeing a Grimes with a chip on his shoulder. Do you think Grimes is being unlocked now with a bigger role off the bench, right? Playing with another shooter with Miles. I think it's a story to watch because, there's a lot of teams, interested in Grimes, right? A huge list. The Utah Jazz, the Hawks, there's also, Houston Rockets, and the Memphis Grizzlies. And that's just what's been reported. We know Danny Ainge has a keen eye for Quentin Grimes as well. The Utah Jazz have some pieces that would fit well with us, with Kelly Olynyk, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson. Maybe we play chicken. We wait all the way to the deadline. We see whether Danny Ainge is trying to make us, overspend. But I do know he really, really likes Quentin Grimes. He's a Houston native as well. The young Houston Rockets would love a two-way player like Quentin Grimes as well. Tonight is just going to further cement other teams' interest, right? Because before trades, there's advanced scouts around the league that are appointed to go to the other team's buildings or watch, the potential trade targets play. And man, absolutely tonight, Grimes's play is going to have, him on the radar of a lot more teams. So as we get to the second part of the show tonight and we talk more about the future and what's lying ahead, I still feel like it's more likely we make a trade, and I still feel like Quentin Grimes, it's more likely that he's a part of a trade, but it's nothing concrete. It's nothing like I'm certain of it. It's not any more than maybe 60, 65, 35, 60, 40. I think there's a world where Grimes can stick, but I do think it's sticky contractually. The Knicks have to make financial decisions on Grimes. We're obviously trying to make, another upgrade on the bench with another, a steady hand, a point guard, a creator. But yeah, man, absolutely every team could do with a Quentin Grimes, as well as we could moving forward. He's just been underwhelming this year, but he looks much better recently. Offensively, he looks more comfortable. Maybe he's just, taken it in his stride, since the rumors, started. I think his play's picked up. So that's a salute to him, for his tough-mindedness. Hearing your face all over Twitter, these big aggregator accounts have got Quentin Grimes' photo all over the shop. So, and I think, for him to play strongly at this time is a big salute, for Q Dot. So with that said, man, he's going to get an A+ for me tonight, right? He's been up and he's been down this year, more so down. But Grimes was amazing tonight in his minutes. Helped us defensively with Brunson out, and Randall out of the lineups too. Michael A++ for Q Dot. Yep. To die for. You're a big fan of keeping it as is. If we can make an upgrade with Evan Fournier's free money. Yep. I think the writing is on the wall with Fournier for sure, man. I think the expiring contract is what's going to get a big trade done. I think they prefer not to pick up Fournier's option. I think they would prefer to get the deal done with Fournier and as minimal picks as possible for a guy like a Brogdon or a Murray. For a guy like Alec Burks, it shouldn't cost any more than a second round pick. For guys like Sexton, possibly one of those protected picks, maybe Grimes as well. But what do you guys feel? Would you prefer a guy like a Clarkson and a Sexton if it meant Quentin Grimes had to go to Utah? I'm kind of torn on it. I think we can make upgrades with just the draft pick and Fournier, Malcolm Brogdon. Ideally, if we could keep Grimes and Deuce and Hart, Precious Achiuwa and another big upgrade, for the bench, and we can get a Malcolm Brogdon for Evan and for a first. I would love to do that. I think Malcolm Brogdon with Evan for with Quentin Grimes, and OG and Hart, and another big playing with the bench units. I think that would be a good look too. But yeah, absolutely, Artem and Singh, you said it. Grimes has got his value up since his recent play. Yep, he's woken up. And then Michael says he's been in the gym. Yep, I think Grimes has always had the talent. I think it's been rhythm. It's tough to come into the league with minimal shots. Once he's getting in rhythm, you get to see what he can do. So yeah, I think Grimes, he gives that two-way play that teams want. He's young still, so yeah, he's worth a flyer for a lot of teams. Atlanta are the other team that are interested in Grimes. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, right, because basically DeJounte Murray, it's a sticky situation. There's a lot of teams interested. The Hawks are looking for multiple first rounds. We know the drill. We don't know if the Knicks are willing to give up multiple first round picks for DeJounte. Maybe they are, but we don't really know. So with that said, a deal with Atlanta might be for Adrian Griffin. The Knicks are a big fan of him. He's CAA. Tibbs, work with his pops. The former Bucks coach, Adrian Griffin, senior. The Knicks are fans of him. The Hawks are a fan of Grimes. But for a like-for-like swap, I wouldn't do that. I would prefer Grimes. He's a better defender. Unless we're getting something else back. If we're getting Clint Capella back, maybe the seriousness of Ihart's injury makes the Knicks look at Clint Capella a little bit more. I like a Paddy Mills, who's out of the rotation but playing well recently due to injuries with Atlanta. If we could get an AJ Griffin, Paddy Mills, Clint Capella, then you might have to seriously look at, Quentin Grimes, we lose your production, but we get some shooting with AJ Griffin, and we get a big, right? We get a capable starting big man as a backup for Ihart's injury and Mitch, because you just never know in the playoffs, right? Mitch might come back and he's not 100%, and he needs to he needs to sit again or something, and Ihart's Achilles might continue to flare up. But if we're talking about just AJ Griffin, there's no need to get rid of Grimes. To Atlanta, we need a better deal than that. So, I'm torn. As I go back to the financial situation with Q Dot, that might be the biggest factor. But I think he's a fan of his role coming in now. If he knows he's getting 22 minutes per night, and he's getting 10 to 15 shots, and the Knicks are willing to give him a decent, friendly contract extension. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 million a year. If we were to keep Grimes, and re-extend him, what would you be comfortable giving Grimes? Something like Deuce, a 3-year, 15 mil deal. He might be looking for something more. I don't know. He might be looking for another opportunity. We wait and see too, fam. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Grimes of late, right? And another guy who stepped up recently and tonight, Mr. Precious Achiuwa, another big time performance in 22 minutes, got 10 rebounds, and 6 of them were offensive. Right, that's beastly numbers, and got us 3 assists, plus 18, 2 points. But yeah, Precious Achiuwa was taking advantage of his spot, and he's rebounding in the absence of Ihart, really. So Sims and Precious continue to be the story where these guys are stepping up in a big way, and I'm comfortable keeping Precious around. I think, he could be the 11th guy, but ideally I would still prefer, an upgrade to the backup big. But yeah, he could play a backup 4 next to the backup center. I prefer for Josh Hart to be at the 3. But yeah, Precious continues to take advantage of his increased minutes tonight in the absence of Isaiah. So that might buy him more trust with Tibbs, and that might, create a scenario where he sticks. But yeah, 2 good games in a row. So I think it's 3 decent games in a row. So outstanding. Now he's got his flaws. He's not efficient. Well, he's not proficient offensively. We know he's not. He's not got the strongest hands, but he's playing to his strengths right now, which is cleaning the glass, rolling hard, cutting, being the energy guy that Tibbs needs. Once again, so salute to Precious Achiuwa. He'll get a B+ for his effort tonight. Vaughan says Precious is earning his keep around here. Yep, he really is. And on the contract, Michael says 3 years, 16. That would be I think that would be a solid number for a Grimes. You keep him under contract. Maybe they agree to a 2-year deal. We'll see. What I do know is, guys, in trade negotiations, teams that are looking to acquire a player with an uncertain contractual future, they do reach out to their agent normally, and they have dialogue. Like Indiana did with Pascal Siakam. There's that discussion, unwritten understanding that, hey, if we acquire you, we're willing to give you this role and we're going to invest in you. Maybe a team like Houston, the Jazz, or the Hawks, maybe they do reach out to Quentin Grimes' camp, and they do say, look, we believe in you. We're going to give you a bigger role than the New York Knicks do. We're willing to give you 3 years, 20. And maybe the New York Knicks, catch wind, and they create a suitable trade opportunity for both parties. We wait to see. It's not always, the player just wants to stay where they are. Sometimes they want, a bigger opportunity. We know Grimes has had his frustrations, in the past as well. That could be one of the reasons the Knicks are more open to trading Grimes, too. Look, if we do get a Sexton, we do get a Jordan Clarkson, Malcolm Brogdon, that does soften the blow, no doubt about it. You got to give up to get. I understand it, and I still do think the number one candidate the second candidate to be in a trade is Quentin Grimes, with the first guy being Evan Fournier. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to make deals. Michael and To Die For has got the B+ too for Precious Achiuwa. Great pickup as part of the deal. Right, it's got lost in the deal with OG with the Raptors. That Precious has come in. We've needed him, and we've needed him to step in with these injuries, and he continues to do well. He's not the perfect guy, and we could definitely try to make that upgrade like we do need to do. I think size-wise, I prefer a bigger guy, but Precious has got some skills. He's got some talent. I'm okay with him sticking, in the playoffs. He's got some experience. He's been in the league. He's on a cheaper expiring contract as well. So yeah, I could really see with this recent play of Achiuwa sticking with this situation. Now, next guy up is Josh Hart, right? The guy who we acquired last deadline, fam. Hart's been good recently, right? Playing with knee soreness. He's been up and down this year, right? But his stuff off court, his life off court changed when he had, two twin babies. I think he's coming to an adjustment. I said it before. I think Hart's play will it will elevate. Hart last year gave us a huge boost. He was always capable of playing better, and he's starting to play better recently. 2 of 5 tonight. He was 7 boards, 3 assists, a steal, a block, 4 points, and a +6. Right. Last game against Brooklyn, he was part of one of the biggest plays of the season. Right, helping contest a 3v1 fast break, falling out of bounds, rescued the ball to get it to Julius. He's making another a statement play tonight with his hustle, his rebounding, and his assisting. Another guy who fits well off the bench for Tibbs and can step in and help close games when you need a hustle play, a guard, a rebounder as well. Great to see Hart playing better. I'm going to give him a B+ too. And he's been playing really well recently. Continue it. Like I said, I think he's just adjusting to. This year has been an adjustment for Hart. He's always been capable of playing better. We saw it last year, but I'm never worried with Hart because he's a guy who helps you in the playoffs. He's not really a shiny stats dude. He's never been that. He's not a dude that wins you. He's going to stand out in the regular season all the time, right? He's a role player, right? Sometimes, role players stick out more than others. Sometimes they don't. But Hart's a guy for the playoffs, right? He'll sky for the rebound. He'll strip a guy. He'll get a loose ball, a jump ball. He'll save it skying for the loose ball falling out of bounds, jumping into the stand. He's all over the place. And I think that's where he's earning his money, right? Offensively, he just needs to, move the ball and be snappy with those decisions. So Hart's going to continue to be a key factor for us with the bench unit, and well done. So that was Hart, Grimes, Precious, and Deuce McBride. And we saw some garbage time. But basically, Tibbs continues to rock with the 9-man. We had Ryan, we had Malachi, twin number 2, Evil Dante, get some minutes in garbage time too. But Grimes shone along with Deuce McBride off the bench with Hart and Precious, right? And the starters, man, like, what can I say more, man? They look the best they've looked, this season so far. So the next guy up is the coach of the New York Knicks, right? The Knicks team that sits at 28-17 on the season, on pace for a 50+ win year, right? I said it tonight at the top of the show. Tonight is the best the Knicks have looked, I think, in a regular season game since Tom Thibodeau became the coach of the Knicks. Since then, we've obviously acquired OG Anunoby. He's a Tibbs guy through and through. The front office and the coach are on the same page, right? We saw the Milwaukee Bucks fire their coach this week, right? We saw the Washington Wizards fire their coach today. Tom Thibodeau's sitting here now with the full trust of Leon Rose, front office coach in sync, and we're getting Tibbs players, right? It's one thing if you fire a coach, you need to give them the chance first and get them the guys that they need to play the way they want to play. And that's what's happening right here in New York City in the Mecca. OG, Harts, Dante's, Brunson and Randall's, guys who will run through a brick wall for you. Guys who will play 48 if they have to, right? So this is Tibbs' legacy right here is his coaching legacy. He's got a roster that the strongest I think he's ever had. And that's a big statement because I know he had, those Chicago Bulls. I think it's close, but I think the way the second and third options on the Knicks, the way the quality of a Julius Randle is. I think those Chicago Bulls was basically Derrick Rose, and it was just hustles with Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, and those guys. So I think Tibbs has got more offensive firepower, and he's got more defensive help with OG, Mitch, Hart, DiVincenzo. I think this is Tibbs' chance, right? This is the closest he's going to get to winning a championship, and it's happening, right? It's happening right now with these Knicks, with further possible acquisitions to come in the deadline in the off-season in the summer. And I think Tibbs is going to be here, man. He's going to get a contract extension. We're going all in. We're win-now mode. And we're on pace once again to get a 50-plus win season, right? So for the first time of the year for me, well, since giving out these formal grades, Tom Thibodeau gets an A+ for me tonight, washing the reigning champions, the Denver Nuggets, to 84 points, right? This is a statement upon a statement. Rested the starters late, had them ready to play. This could have been a game where, we're feeling good. We're coming into the game feeling like, okay, we had a win against Brooklyn. We're 10 games over, right? You could be forgiven for just saying, look, we'll play as well as we can, but let's split the Denver and the Miami games. But no, the Knicks came out tonight ready to ball, right? They wanted to make this statement tonight and play the Nuggets off the court, right? And we smoked them. Absolutely destroyed them right now. So Tibbs, A+, outstanding effort. Let's see what we do in the playoffs. Let's see if we can get more guys to complement what Tibbs is trying to do. We move forward now as we look at the road ahead. And we will talk about potential trade options. Guys continue to freestyle now for the rest of the show. And I will be back for a huge show post-game live on Saturday night against the Miami Heat with Terry Rozier and the crew, Jimmy Buckets and Bam Adebayo, for the first time since the playoffs, right? We welcome them back to MSG. I don't think Brunson's going to forget that he got his ankle stood on by Bam. And I don't think Julius Randle is going to have forgotten, right, getting injured by Bam as well, right, with those illegal screens. So that's going to be a huge one, and I like our chances. I think we're going to continue to ride this wave. As you see OG Anunoby flash his bag there, man, get into the passing lane. He's deceptively quick with the ball as well. Look how quick he is. A couple of first steps, and he's out on the break as well with his head down. I loved OG's game ball for me tonight. To Die For says, we're turning into the best defensive team in the league. Playoff time, no one is going to want to see us. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've grown every year, and we're taking the next step. Last year, we were 5th seed, and we were that team that, second round gave some teams some problems. This year, we're all in the same kind of boat, but we're built for it. We're built better as well. We've got a sturdier foundation. We've got more experience, as I referred to earlier with our loss to the Heat last season. I think we'll have learnt a lot from that. We took them 6 games, and it almost forced the 7th game at Madison Square Garden as well. And I think, those guys are going to have it in their memories. Jimmy playing the Heat as well. But the East is more competitive this year as well. That's the only difference. I think the play-in is going to be incredibly exciting. And we're about to look at the East too, fam, in the standings. But As we talk about names and pickups, I want to hear from you guys. Like, right now, we know what's out there, what's been reported. Who would you prefer, knowing what the kind of cost is going to be? Who would you prefer the Knicks get now? Now factoring in that we win big tonight, and that we're 11 games over 500. So some things you just don't want to mess with too much. That's what I'm kind of understanding right now, is that some people don't want to mess with it too much. Some people might still not care and and try to get the biggest fish available. Either way, whatever your argument is, I want to hear it and let me know, right? But Kyle Lowry, I think, is a big key. The buyout market, like the chat said tonight, Gordon Hayward might get bought out. PJ Tucker, I think, is going to get bought out as well. The Phoenix Suns and the Bucks, two teams at the top or headed for the top, are still trying to make upgrades as well. Eric Gordon, for the Suns to have to make a deal, they might need to trade Eric Gordon. Grayson Allen, they don't have many other pieces to give up. The Hawks, they need to give up DeJounte Murray to get something. And like I said, the Bucks, they're going to give up maybe Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton to get involved. The Lakers are going to give up D'Angelo Russell. I think the Portland Trailblazers, I think they will trade Malcolm Brogdon because financially they have to. And I do think they will, because financially they're in a tough spot, right? So let's bring up the standings right now and look at where the Knicks sit. Right, the Heat lost tonight, and the Pacers won. So we're catching the Cleveland Cavaliers, and boom, look at that. The Knicks are now in the 4th spot, ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers now, with 2 more wins and 1 more loss. So we're half a game ahead of the Cavs. The Pacers picked up a big win over Philly tonight, and the Heat picked up another loss. So if we're looking at it, there's real separation between the Knicks and the Heat in the play-in. 4 games, right? 3 games ahead of the Pacers, firmly in the playoff spot now. There's no looking back after tonight, fam. We're riding high, and we are not going out of the playoff picture. It's only up from here. Right, we're 2 games off Philly, who are in the 3rd spot. Just 2 games back of 3rd. That would be huge to get that 3rd spot. We beat Philly already, so it's looking good for the tiebreaker. And we are only 3.5 back of the 2nd seed Bucks as well. So unfortunately, we don't really play the Bucks anymore because we've played them so many times. But if we play the Bucks a few more times, that would have been a great chance. But we have to rely on them losing some of these. And of course, people make that case, to go all in on a DeJounte Murray. You're right, we're so close. That could be a real difference maker in terms of getting, taking the Celtics all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals deep. To me, it's a no-brainer. I think the Celtics will be there, right? There's clear daylight between the Celtics and the Bucks, but I don't know, if we were to meet the Celtics in the 2nd round, I could see an upset. OG Anunoby is a complete difference maker. I think Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum have shown that they can have off nights, and I think with our defensive and offensive prowess, I think anything's possible. Right, but we need to get a good seed. We need to make sure we get home court in the 1st round, guys. That's the key. Yeah, Michael says we're beating the Heat on Saturday, 100%. I would like Lowry too as insurance. That's it. Okay, I feel that. Yep. See, you make a great point about plug and play kind of guys. a guy like Kyle Lowry is not going to upset the apple cart because he's basically going to play, the preferred backup. Deuce McBride might shift to the 2. Maybe if Quentin Grimes is here, he's at the 3. Josh Hart at the 4. I get it. Maybe OG at the small ball 5. And maybe you don't need to get another big man. I get it. What you do get with Kyle Lowry, though, you get a guy who can score, shoot a little, and be a steady hand, play make. And I think that solves 2 things that the Knicks need. In my opinion, the Knicks need 3 things in this trade deadline. We need 3 things. We need a capable, steady creator that can score. We need a steady point guard who can facilitate in the pressure environment. I know Deuce McBride's, he's capable of doing some stuff in the regular season, but in the playoffs it's different when the defense, ratchets up. And the third thing we need is I think a big with maybe a little bit more size, rebounding, rim protection, and or some stroke. A player who can shoot it a little bit, like Kelly Olynyk, a Duop Reith as well. So with that said, I'm going to make my suggestion, me personally, and this isn't really the only thing that I want us to do. I would be open for a DeJounte Murray deal, a bigger deal if it makes more sense in terms of what we're giving out. But from what I see right now, I feel like I would be comfortable with the Knicks doing a couple of moves. One of them is the buyouts. That's undetermined yet. We have to see who actually can get bought out first. But just trades alone, I would start with the Portland Trailblazers. As I said earlier, I think it's a given that they will trade Malcolm Brogdon. I think everyone's trying to vie for the DeJounte Murray deal, and the price is going up. But whoever misses out on the DeJounte Murray deal, the price might go up for Malcolm Brogdon. So you want to get in quick. So I would call Portland, and I would say to them, here is Evan Fournier. You get Brogdon's money off your books. You save some money. And to sweeten it for you, I'm going to give you a protected first-round pick. We can negotiate which one, but whether it's the one of those Milwaukee ones or a Detroit one, I would try to not to be the Dallas one, because this year I think that's going to be possibly a top 15 pick. So I would definitely try to keep that one, but I would give them one of those Dallas, those Detroit, Washington, or Milwaukee protected ones. And if they wanted something else, I would give them the 2nd round pick from the Utah Jazz that we have this year as well. And I would give them Evan Fournier. And I would try to get Malcolm Brogdon that way. So you're not giving up Grimes, you're just giving up Evan and the draft pick that they look for. And that's what reports are saying. They're looking for a 1st round pick. And then the second deal I would look at, and I would try to get Duop Reith. I would try to get Malcolm Brogdon and Duop Reith. I would give them Malachi Flynn. I would give them Precious Achiuwa if they want. And like I said, the draft pick. I would try to get Duop Reith and Malcolm Brogdon. That solves the scoring, the point guard, and it solves the big man. And then if I'm talking to Atlanta, depends what happens with iHeart and Mitch. If Capella is available, that's going to be tricky because you need Evan Fournier's salary. So forget about Capella for right now. Look at AJ Griffin, another young player with shooting, and a veteran shooter point guard facilitator, Patty Mills. I think if they're interested in really taking Quentin Grimes, if the Knicks don't see a future keeping Grimes, then maybe you can get a 2-for-1. You can get a Quentin Grimes, and you can get back another young shooter with AJ Griffin, and another option for the playoffs with Patty Mills, who's a veteran. He's been there. He's shooting well. He's playing well right now for them in limited minutes. And I think he would be insurance as well, and another offensive creator, a guy who can help score off the bench as well. So yeah, those are the two deals that I think would make the Knicks bench a lot stronger without giving up too much. Outside of that, anything but a buyout with Lowry, Hayward, then you can seriously look at that as well. But I don't really think a DeJounte Murray deal is going to get done right now from what I'm hearing from the guys of Fred Katz, those guys, Ian Begley. It does look like the Hawks are holding out for a bigger deal. The Lakers seem pretty desperate. I think the Hawks will try to coerce as many draft picks as possible, and we just know Leon Rose doesn't want to do that, right? He wants to keep as many unprotected picks for the off season for the next star that asks out. And I think Danny Ainge is a similar story. I think, unless it's just the Kelly Olynyk deal, I think for Sexton, Clarkson, they're going to want a lot of draft picks as well, and I think that's what Leon Rose is trying to stay clear of. So you get a guy like Malcolm Brogdon for just one first round pick. That solves what you need for the bench, I think. What do you guys think? Buzzer says Lowry is too washed for me. He's definitely not the first option. I feel you in terms of, I feel like he can give us a bit as just basically a free swing, fam. It's a free swing. If it's a buyout, nothing more than that though. I'm definitely not trading for Lowry. See Andre Drummond as well, Michael. Absolutely, I love that. Whether it's buyout or a trade for a second round draft pick, something small. But unfortunately, what I'm hearing is that the Bulls are trying to be difficult again. They're posturing. They're trying to get a couple of picks for Drummond as well. So I think that's I don't want to overpay, right? See, the Knicks have leverage. We're not in a position where we need to overpay, right? We have Grimes, a player that teams want. There's no reason we should be forced to give up multiple picks, or things that we don't need to give up, right? The big thing is going to happen in the off season, too, fam. We're not making no blockbuster right now. Look at the chemistry of this team, right? We're clicking. I don't see us trading 5 first-round picks for a player that's not going to be available, right? The best possible player available is DeJounte Murray, and he would fit well on this team. But I don't know if Leon Rose wants to give up 3 firsts, for him. If 2 firsts can get it done, then, the answer to that. Let's do it. But if it's 3... I don't see Leon doing it. There's just too many options. There's buyout guys. There's more minute deals that can be done as well, I think. Yeah, but I do like Olynyk too, Michael. Salute. To Die For says, CT, that's if Tibbs plays it right. Because if OG and Randall plays with Deuce, it kind of changes the game. Because of the double team on Randall of OG. Yeah, that's key too. I think the playoffs taught these guys a lot. And Randall has matured this season, right? You still see some remnants of his, aggression, sometimes his frustration in his play. But I think, as a guy who's only 28, he's still growing in mentality, maturation. And I think that's where the biggest area Randall can thrive in the playoffs. I think physical abilities, Randall has got it, right? He's done it in the league now for 5 years since coming to the Knicks. He's a good regular season player, a great regular season player, and an all-star. I think in the playoffs it's all mental, and the coach as well. Yeah, CT, if we're looking at ATL, Brunson is going to want his boy Sadiq Bey. Yeah, that's a good name. I missed out on Bey. I heard, the Hawks are interested in fielding talks for Sadiq Bey. Good player. Uh, do you like the fit with the bench with him and Hart? Um, with Hart, if Grimes is still there, it's going to be tricky. With OG, he can play minutes with the bench. I do like Bay the talent. I just think the other pieces might fit a little bit better. We need more shot creation, and we need a little bit more shooting. I think Bay would have been a better option, in my opinion, if we didn't get OG to be a starting, to be the starting wing. But yeah, it's going to be a tricky fit with Josh Hart. I think Sadiq Bay. Um, Michael says Paddy Mills and maybe Drummond. Yep. And Brogdon, yes. Yep, 100%. That's a fact, yep. That's it, guys, What I value a lot in any of these acquisitions, guys, is experience, right? No one's questioning the talent of DeJounte Murray. Unfortunately, and I'm not saying this is on him, but just it's a case of the situation. The Hawks haven't been better since he got there, right? And has he been deep in the playoffs, right? Now you flip that and you look at a Malcolm Brogdon, a guy who's been in the trenches, a guy who's been in the wars, he's been deep in the playoffs, right? There's injury concerns, of course, nothing's perfect. But if it's a first round draft pick and it's a cheaper option, I like Malcolm Brogdon for this the shooting. He plays well off ball, plays good on ball, plays solid D. Get him for a first round pick. It's a no-brainer for me. He's been the sixth man of the year before. He's comfortable in that role. Brunson goes down or misses some time. Knock on wood. Brogdon can step in and be the starter. I think Murray can too. I think there's cases to be made for both, but I just see a pathway to a deal with Portland easier than I do with the Hawks. But you never know. It might be wrong. The Hawks have Bay, like you said. The Hawks have they have AJ Griffin, who the Knicks love. The Knicks have Q Dot, who the Hawks love. So maybe just maybe there could be the best pathway for a trade between the Knicks and the Hawks. So yeah, man, it's going to be super fascinating. But tonight just really makes you really stop and think, okay, like how much of a change do we need? How much should we go for? There's no question we need something. I'll always push back on someone who says the Knicks don't need to do anything, because I think that would just be negligent. The Knicks still need to make a move. We need to make the bench stronger for the playoffs. It's just a question of, how much and what makes sense, to fam as well. But before we wrap up, let's look at the action tonight and who won. As of course, the Knicks are now in fourth seed. Sole fourth seed, which is a beautiful sight right now. And we have the Warriors jockeying with the Kings. We have the Lakers who need this big win. They're beating the Bulls. The Bulls are going to trade Levine, of course. The Knicks, I don't see us making any deal for Levine, but he will end up somewhere. I do think Zach's going to, for salary purposes as well. I think the Bulls want to clean house a little. The Jazz, they're in a situation where they've got to decide, do we try to make a couple of moves to retool, or do we just think about the future with removing Sexton with Clarkson and Olenek? But yeah, Danny Ainge is going to continue to hunt those picks and try to fleece somebody. Right. See, that's the thing. You don't need to deal with the Jazz. You don't even need to overpay. Right. So if if Danny Ainge wants to do a fair deal, let's do a fair deal. But if I'm talking to Danny Ainge and I'm Leon right now, and he's trying to pull this, you've got what we want, kind of like Donovan situation, and you need to give us this, then click. I hang up the phone straight away. Right. I'm not paying the New York tax that Danny Ainge wants us to pay, right? I mean, let's be honest. Sexton and Clarkson, they're good players. Yes. Are they a difference maker? No, they're not, right? We can get help elsewhere, right? If we were a little bit more desperate, I'd say, okay, look, we need to we maybe do need to overpay a little, but we're not. We're not desperate right now. Look at the way Deuce McBride's shooting, and look at the other options available. Now, Kelly Olynyk is a guy who I think they need to trade because he's a free agent. Sexton and Clarkson might be they might be players that the Jazz want to keep. Right? There's no reason that they need to get off of those guys. They might want to be part of the ride, as part of the journey. They're playing well, but there's no doubt. I think Kelly Olynyk, is an asset around the league, and he's a free agent. So Kelly Olynyk will get traded somewhere. I think to the highest bidder, of course. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't see anyone giving up a first-round pick for a guy who's a free agent. Maybe a team that wants to give up a good young player and a second, that might get it done. Maybe a couple of seconds, that might get it done. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Jazz. The Pacers finally got their first win in the Pascal Siakam era. They are 1-5, 1-4 in the Pascal Siakam era as well. So they're still around, but the Knicks have good separation now. And then the statement of all statement wins on the season, holding a full strength Denver Nuggets to 84 points. Unbelievable tonight. And of course, we need to capitalize. We need to beat the Heat to make this win, feel even better. I think this win and this stretch will feel better if we can beat the Heat as well, and we continue to ride. The Heat lose tonight, great sight, and of course the New Jersey Nets lose as well. So beautiful things to see, things you love to see. And another thing we love to see is the Knicks in the sole fourth position, just 2 games back of Philly, who lost tonight as well. So the Pacers actually did us a favor, right? I'm not worried about the Pacers catching up. I'm actually looking ahead, and I'm glad that the Pacers beat the Sixers tonight. So we're just 2 games back of third seed. That would be huge for the playoffs if the Knicks were to be in third. We need to stay healthy, of course, and we need to see what we do at the deadline, fam. But the Pacers have made their move. Pascal Siakam, I don't think that's going to move the needle. I could see them maybe making 4th, 5th, 6th, 4th if things go really right. But I think they're right there in 6th where they need to be. The Heat made the deal for Terry Rozier. Good role player. I don't think that's moving the needle either. I think the Miami Heat will win in the playoffs with their veterans. I don't think Terry Rozier, they're established veterans. I don't think Terry Rozier will boost them from 6th to 4th or 3rd. I think the Heat are going to be a tough opponent. That. We hope we don't see them in the first round. Right, if it's a 4 or 5 matchup, right, I'd prefer to play the Cavs. I'd prefer to play Philly. I prefer to play the Pacers. But if it's the Heat, it's the Heat. So be it. But yeah, we're gonna get a good look at them on Saturday night, fam, as we get ready to wrap this thing up, as we're buzzing with the New York Knicks. Got the league on notice tonight with a statement victory, 11 games over, on pace for 50-plus wins. But the story is the Knicks look as good on the court as they've looked, right, in this entire Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose regime, right? Jalen Brunson, the soon-to-be All-Star, is here with Julius Randle, hopefully the 3rd-time All-Star, and help is on its way as well. So the entire league has to pay attention, right? Whether they want to, whether they want to play, act up, troll, right? Whatever suits them. But the real deal is the Knicks, and we're coming, right? Top 4 seed in the East. We have to be taken seriously. We're doing this short-handed as well. No iHeart, no Mitch. Look out if those guys get back soon. Defense, best in the league in 2024. And let's keep it that way too, fam. We here officially. And let's beat the Heat on Saturday. We might see a trade happen soon, but we'll wait and see. Appreciate you once again, everyone, for rocking out. Replay squad, smash that like button. The streets are buzzing. CT out. See you on Saturday night. Peace.